It was supposed to be another marvel of human engineering, a routine expedition that pushed boundaries while celebrating progress. But within minutes, wonder turned into horror. What began as a scientific deep-sea test became a catastrophe that would raise haunting questions about risk, oversight, and the price of ambition. This is a story of Dr. Lena Hartley, a pioneering oceanographer whose final mission aboard an experimental submersible left an indelible mark on the world of exploration. Before we begin, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this story so we can continue bringing you powerful, true stories that matter. Let's dive in. Lena Hartley wasn't your typical researcher. From the time she could speak, she asked questions no one else around her thought to ask. While other children played in sandboxes, Lena devoured books about shipwrecks and sonar. She could recite oceanic trench depth from memory by the age of 9. By 14, she was building rudimentary underwater robots with scavenged parts. She pursued her education relentlessly, graduating summa cum laude in marine robotics, followed by a doctorate in hydrothermal systems. But what truly set her apart wasn't just her intellect. It was her instinct. Colleagues often said Lena didn't just study the ocean, she listened to it. She became the youngest mission lead ever appointed at the Ocean Tech Research Institute. Her name became known not only for her research, but for her ability to navigate some of the most challenging environments on the planet. She believed exploration wasn't just about data, it was about respect. "We don't conquer the ocean," she often said, "we negotiate with it." But behind the accolades and headlines, the world of deep-sea research carries unseen risks. Sophisticated vessels, pressurized environments, human fallibility. And on that day, not even Lena could predict what would unfold. The Titanium-class submersible, nicknamed Echo 1, was Ocean Tech's most advanced prototype. Designed for ultra-deep descents, it featured a reinforced composite shell, robotic arms, and a revolutionary navigation AI. Lena had been part of its design team and would now lead its inaugural live mission. 3,000 meters below the surface, off the Mariana Trench. The goal was simple: survey a newly discovered geothermal vent. What no one expected was how quickly things would spiral out of control. February 22nd. The sun had just risen over the Pacific, casting gold across the ship's steel decks. On board, final systems checks were underway. Crew members moved with practiced calm, but Lena remained laser-focused, reviewing telemetry, calibrating sensors, scanning logs. She had done this dozens of times, but never this deep, never with this vessel. At 7:13 a.m., Echo 1 was lowered into the sea. As it descended, sunlight faded, replaced by darkness as absolute as space. Inside, Lena monitored her instruments, recording pressure, temperature, and sound levels. The descent was smooth. At 2,700 meters, she radioed topside. All readings nominal. Visuals clear. Echo 1 is holding steady. Her voice was calm, confident. By 7:58 a.m., the submersible reached target depth. Lights illuminated the ocean floor. Volcanic rock, sulfuric plumes, signs of microbial life. Lena activated the robotic arms, collecting samples. For the next 22 minutes, everything went according to plan. Until it didn't. A vibration. Then another, barely noticeable at first, like a murmur through the hull. Lena paused, rechecked her dashboard. No warnings. Still, her instincts flared. She radioed the surface again. Echo 1 is detecting localized tremors, requesting environmental analysis. Topside responded, minor tectonic activity, within expected range. But deep beneath the surface, the situation was changing faster than anyone realized. Inside the cockpit, a soft alarm began to pulse. Not red, not urgent, just a quiet orange, pressure fluctuation. Lena blinked, then the sub jolted. A burst of bubbles outside. Something wasn't right. She initiated ascent protocols, but the system didn't engage. Then the AI flickered. Hydraulic response delay, 2.4 seconds. 2 seconds too long. She tried again. Another jolt, louder this time. Something external had shifted, either a collapse nearby or a structural failure. Still, Lena didn't panic. She had trained for this. She manually triggered the ballast release. The sub began to rise, slow, controlled. But pressure was increasing, not decreasing. That's when the external camera feed went black, and the lights cut out. What happened in those next few minutes is still debated among experts. At 8:11 a.m., surface crew lost full contact with Echo 1. Final telemetry indicated an internal power redistribution and a rapid drop in buoyancy. No distress signal was sent, just silence. Rescue vessels were mobilized within the hour. Sonar was deployed. A perimeter sweep began. But with each passing minute, hope dwindled. At 9:06 a.m., a faint sonar ping was detected, not from Echo 1, but from its emergency beacon 900 meters east of the planned dive site. When the beacon was recovered, it told a chilling story. At 8:13 a.m., an implosion event had occurred. Instantaneous and catastrophic. The vessel had experienced a localized hull failure under pressure, collapsing in milliseconds. Lena Hartley never stood a chance. The ocean had gone silent again. The news broke slowly at first. A vague statement from Ocean Tech. We have lost contact with our lead researcher during a deep-sea mission. Rescue operations are underway. But behind the corporate language was a growing sense of dread. By the evening of February 22nd, it was official. Dr. Lena Hartley was presumed dead. Within 24 hours, headlines swept across major outlets. Brilliant mind lost to the deep Ocean Tech tragedy sparks safety probe. Innovator dies on maiden dive. Her photo, smiling in her pressure suit, standing next to Echo 1, was everywhere. People grieved. Scientists, students, even those who barely knew her name felt the loss. Because Lena represented something bigger. Hope. The belief that we could explore the unknown without losing ourselves to it. But as the morning spread, so did the questions. Why did a state-of-the-art sub fail? What warnings were ignored? Was this an accident or negligence? The investigation began immediately. An independent review board was assembled, including naval engineers, pressure vessel experts, and AI ethicists. Recovered components were analyzed. Acoustic data was dissected. Internal memos from Ocean Tech were subpoenaed. What emerged painted a more complicated picture. Echo 1 had passed every inspection. On paper, it was flawless. But some engineers had raised quiet concerns about its composite hull, strong, but still experimental under extreme conditions. One memo dated 3 months prior suggested postponing the first manned dive until further simulations could be completed. The memo had been overruled. Why? Time, funding, reputation. Ocean Tech was racing to secure a government contract. A successful dive would have put them ahead of global competitors. The pressure wasn't just from the ocean. It was from within. One engineer anonymously told investigators, there was this feeling that Lena could handle anything. She was a safety net. But even the best can't survive physics. Water wave. Lena's autopsy wasn't necessary. There were no remains to examine, just fragments. Yet her legacy sparked something bigger than grief. Protests emerged at tech conferences and academic symposiums. Students held vigils with signs that read, "Not just a statistic, and curiosity shouldn't kill." Online petitions demanded reforms in private exploration missions. Hashtags trended worldwide. Hashtag for Lena, hashtag reform deep tech, hashtag safety before speed. The tragedy became a flashpoint, not just about a failed dive, but about the ethics of exploration in an age where ambition often outpaces accountability. Her colleagues, devastated, founded the Hartley Protocol Initiative, a global task force focused on submersible safety, ethical testing frameworks, and mental wellness support for high-risk researchers. Lena's name became a standard in grant policies. Hartley compliance meant a mission met the highest bar of safety and oversight. 3 months after the incident, the remnants of Echo 1 were displayed at the Ocean Tech headquarters, not as a trophy, but as a warning. Bent steel, fractured composites, and a scorched control panel sat in a glass enclosure, silently telling a story of ambition, oversight, and irreversible consequence. A plaque beneath it reads, "In memory of Dr. Lena Hartley, may progress never outpace responsibility." But Lena's legacy wasn't confined to a museum. Her family, after receiving the final investigative report, declined to sue. Instead, they launched the Hartley Foundation for Ethical Exploration. Its mission was clear: support young scientists, advocate for transparency in high-risk research, and ensure that no discovery would ever come to blind expense of human life again. Grants began to flow. Safety standards shifted. Major research institutions rewrote protocols with her name at the top of each page. In classrooms, professors reference her final dive not as a failure, but as a lesson. "We go to the edge," one said, "but we don't jump blindly." Lena showed us that the edge has meaning only if we return from it. Colleagues recalled her calm under pressure, her humility, her relentless pursuit of not just knowledge, but understanding. One former coworker said, "She didn't just want to map the ocean floor. She wanted to understand what it meant to walk across it." Another added, "She believed in the mission, but she also believed in doing it right." We failed her on that second part. Her story, however tragic, did what data alone could never do. It humanized the cost of progress. It asked uncomfortable questions about ambition, about oversight, about the line between courage and recklessness. And in doing so, it brought reform, real reform. Lena Hartley's final moments were spent in silence, beneath a crushing weight few can comprehend. But what followed was louder than any headline. Waves of change, echoes of responsibility, and the realization that even in death, one voice can ripple through an entire field. So if this story moved you, if it made you pause, reflect, or rethink how we pursue progress, let it be more than a moment. Let it be a mission. Support ethical exploration. Share this story. Speak out for safety in science. Because behind every discovery, every innovation, and every launch into the unknown, there is a human, and every human matters. Thank you for watching. If this story meant something to you, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who believes that every life, every risk, and every lesson should never be forgotten.